Hey, my name is Ray and you're watching Ray of Books. Today's video is going to be the 12th incredibly delayed installment of my currently checked out series. If you're new to my channel and you've never seen any of my currently checked out videos before, essentially the purpose of this series is to raise awareness about the different types of resources that public libraries provide. I live in San Francisco, so the San Francisco Public Library is the library system that I utilize the most often. However, I also use public library systems throughout California. At the end of each video, I'll be giving you guys a price tally on how much money I saved by utilizing the resources available to me through my local public libraries. If you watched my last currently checked out video, you will know that I had hit a very low point with my reading. I was sick and tired of ebooks. I was tired of reading on screens. I was tired of reading digitally. I was not having any fun reading anymore. So I kind of took a break and a very long hiatus away from my channel as a result of just that pure digital exhaustion. But I'm back now because some of the local libraries in my area have opened for curbside pickup service. So since I live in San Francisco, I utilize the San Francisco Public Library's curbside service the most often. I think they started it back in August, and I have been checking out a huge amount of books, and if I was to include every book that I've checked out since curbside has started to now, this video would be incredibly long and nobody would watch it, not even myself. I wouldn't even want to record that. So instead, I'm just going to tell you guys about the things that I have currently checked out from November 1st to the 7th. The first thing that I currently have checked out is Ghostwriter by Rayco Pulido. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I never know, but that's that. And basically, I have no clue how I came across this. I don't know where I saw it or why I requested it. I'm thinking I was probably in the mood for some kind of creepy work that wasn't an American creepy work, but instead was like a translated creepy work. Basically, this graphic novel is about a serial killer who is killing husbands. And it's up to kind of this script writer for a radio station about advice who is also looking for her missing husband, partnering up with a detective who uses hypnosis to figure out where her husband is. And it just sounded like a pretty interesting read once I actually had it in my hands. I was definitely not expecting it to be a graphic novel though. That was a little bit of a surprise, but it's been so long since I've read a physical graphic novel that I am beyond fine with it. The next two things that I have checked out are both novellas, the first of which is Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. I have been in the mood for short stories, but I have not been in the mood for a short story collection. I've just been looking for a one and done short story, less than 140 pages, and I realized that novellas are technically less than 140 pages, I think. I don't remember the exact what makes a novella. I don't know if it's a word count or a page count. What I ended up doing was I went to my library's online catalog and just did a keyword search for novella. And after a few little search refinements, I was able to find quite a lot of them, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. Silver in the Wood was definitely a cover grab. I love how spooky and naturey it looks. And when I saw that the synopsis mentioned a cottage, a cat, and dryads, I was pretty much sold. I'm always down for a kind of sort of creepy, woodsy, magic realism combination. The second novella that I ended up checking out from my novella keyword search was The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Nevo. This one was definitely a title grab for me, as that is what initially sparked my interest, but then when I read the synopsis and it said that it was a feminist high fantasy set in a mage-made summer in Imperial China, I was sold. It sounded absolutely fascinating, like something that I would incredibly enjoy. So I requested it and I got it, and it's here. The next book that I have currently checked out is A Legend Born by Tracy Deonn. Basically, I've been trying to read a little bit more YA these days because I'm honestly amazed at how diverse YA fantasy has become. When I was a kid, I can think of maybe two, maybe three YA books that I read that actually featured characters of color or Black people in general. And I spent so much time of my childhood and teenage years reimagining these characters as people who looked like me. I would change their names, I would change settings. If ever there was a description talking about how beautiful their pale skin was, I would change it to how beautiful their bronze skin was. So I'm really excited that teenagers and young adults and children growing up now don't have to do that. They can actually read stories about characters that look like them, and they know that from the cover, which is one of the things that was a major draw to me for this book. Also, the Goodreads synopsis mentioned that it was a good Southern Black girl magic tale, and I'm always down to read about some Southern Black girl magic. My understanding of this book is that the main character is infiltrating a secret society, and honestly, that was kind of sold. That was what sold me. The infiltration of a magic society by a bomb-ass looking Black woman. That's it. That's all I needed. That's fine. So I'm super excited to read it, and I'm super excited to see if I'm going to continue onward with the series. The next item that I currently have checked out is A Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clark, and I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that it was a novella because I did not know that it was a novella when I was requesting it. This book is basically a Twitter kind of made me do it book. I saw so many good things about it on Twitter that I was like, I need to read that, and I am going to read that. Basically, it features a badass chick with a magic sword who is not only a bootlegger in Prohibition, Georgia, but is also fighting to stop the Klan from raising hell on earth. She's assisted by a foul-mouthed sharpshooter and a Harlem hellfighter. And if that does not sound like the best trio of I'm here to fuck shit up, I don't know what else is. I am super excited to read it. It sounds so good. It sounds like top tier fantasy to me, and it's probably going to be the next book that I read. The next book that I currently have checked out is The Map of Salt and Stars by Zane Jukdar. I've tried to pronounce that 80 bagillion times at this junction in my life, but I think that's the closest I'm going to get. I don't know if you might notice, but the cover image that I'm showing right now says by Jennifer. The author no longer goes by that name, so out of respect for him, I will refer to him by his chosen name. This request was definitely the result of Goodreads browsing. I was actually originally interested in this author's next book, which is called The 30 Names of Night, I believe, and it sounds absolutely fascinating, but it doesn't come out until a little bit later on in November, so I decided to give his debut novel a shot just to make sure that I actually like his writing style before I got my hopes incredibly high for his next book. The story in this book, however, follows two teenage girls 800 years apart who are making identical journeys through the Middle East and North Africa. The first girl is in the year 2011, and her family and, well, not her family, her mother and her brother and sisters are escaping Syria, and they're making the refugee journey through the Middle East and North Africa. The other girl is 800 years before, and she is on a mission or a quest or a job of some sort to make a map of the world for King Roger II of Sicily. When I requested this book, I realized that I have not read pretty much any historical fiction that takes place in Syria or the Middle East or North Africa. So I'm really excited to learn more about those cultures and those areas through this author's storytelling. The last book that I currently have checked out and the book that I'm currently reading is Opium and Absence by Lydia Kang. This one was a pure cover grab for me. I know that I saw this book on some list and I saw the cover and I said, oh my gosh, I need to read that. That cover is gorgeous. I love the Victorian era vibe on the cover, and the artist Edward, I can't remember his last name. Edward something. I will leave a link to his website in the description box down below. Did an absolutely amazing job with the cover of this book, and he has amazing covers that he's done before as well. The story in this book takes place in New York City in 1899, so the very tail end of the Victorian era. The main character, Tilly Pembroke's sister Lucy, is discovered dead with 2 puncture wounds in her neck and her body completely drained of blood. And of course, recently published in 1899 is the story Dracula. So Tilly becomes convinced that a vampire has killed her sister. While she's out hunting for the who, why, and how her sister was murdered, she is also dealing with an opium addiction. The story has been absolutely fascinating so far. I'm looking forward to finishing it though so I could read Ring Shout, and that is pretty much that. And that pretty much sums up everything that I have currently checked out between November 1st and November 7th. The grand total of money that I saved from checking out all of these things from the library instead of buying them new from a bookstore is $103.51, which is no small chunk of change, and I'm super glad that the libraries have reopened for curbside pickup, because I was getting to the point where I might have ended up spending that $103. And my questions for you guys this week are, what is going on with your public libraries? Are they open for curbside pickup? Are they open for in-person browsing? Have you been able to check anything out? And if you have been able to check anything out, let me know what it is. And if you haven't been able to check anything out lately, let me know in the comments down below, what are the last 3 books that you read? And that is pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed watching this, please give it a thumbs up. It does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you'd ever like to see and or hear me babble about books ever again, please hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to me. I hope everyone is doing well and reading absolutely amazing books, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!